the youngest genius warologist, steady hands, saving
I storm
lives.
out of the villa and
But
slam
her
the front
former
door
uncle
shut.
humiliates her
The
in
echo rings
public,
through the night, exactly
calling
like
her
the
job
declaration at the end of
improper.
my 4-year secret
He
love.
thinks she's
After I
playing
leave,
around until
Nate
she
sits up.
nails
He lights a
a
cigarette,
brutal
eyes
surgery
cold, no lust
and
in them at
silences
all.
him. 2
Sir,
years
Miss
ago,
Liana left for her friend
he
Maisie's
set a
house.
trap
She still hasn't
to
signed the
drive
papers
her
for
away.
traveling abroad yet.
Was it protection
She will.
or selfishness? Now,
Bring them to
the
her
more
and
he
ensure
tries
she
to
signs.
push her,
What I
the
don't
more
know
he
is that Nate is
falls.
wearing his pants
Every
the entire
close
time.
call is torment. Every
whole
glance
scene.
is wildfire.
It was all
The
a
lie
performance,
he
just for
crafted
me.
is
Macy's
now
the
a
only person
cage
in this
and
city
he's
who
the
doesn't treat me
prisoner.
like a Holland family
In this
accessory.
battle
I
of
collapse on her
forbidden
sofa, crying
ties,
hard.
who breaks first?
How could he do this to me? I loved him so much. Liana, wake up. He's Nate Holland, your uncle in name. There's no way anything can happen between you. But he's not my biological uncle. To the world, he is your uncle. You two are family. Admit it, you're just refusing to face reality. Her words douse my burning delusions like ice water. But how can I not love him? He is the only light in my dark childhood. 4 years ago, I ran away from my abusive uncle's house. I stood in the Holland mansion like a beggar. Christy Holland, Ricky's second wife, Nate's stepmother looked at me like I was dirt on her shoe. Give her $100 and throw her out. This is not a shelter. My face burned with humiliation. Just as I am about to flee, Nate appeared, dressed in a gray suit. He stood with his arms folded, watching them from above like he was amused by the scene.
Christy, is your generosity only for the show when my father's around? Let her stay.
At that moment, 16-year-old me felt protected for the first time. My heart plunged, not from fear, but from love at first sight.
Your grandfather helped mine. I've got your back.
Those words changed my life forever. I left my uncle's tiny attic and hand-me-down clothes behind. I got a spacious bedroom and a wardrobe full of designer outfits. I had never been to school. Nate hired tutors. Within 2 years, I finished junior high and high school. At 18, I entered Ellismon's top university. A 16-year-old country girl began a secret love, gazing up at the sun. That evening, I return home exhausted. The first thing I see is Nate, sitting on the sofa in that black loungewear. I finally remember who that woman is. Gillian Murray, famous actress and singer. They're wearing matching pajamas. They're telling me they're soulmates. And I'm the outsider. I don't expect my uncle to prefer the mature type. Gillian is captivating. And me? Pretty at college, but lacking that fatal allure.
Come, sit down.
Nate, is Gillian your girlfriend?
Is it so strange for you to see me with a woman? Why did you get so upset earlier? How old are you?
He smiles mockingly, like he's teasing a child throwing a tantrum. Discussing his sex life so casually means he only sees me as a niece. In that instant, I finally understand. He has never seen me as a woman.
Sign this document. Studying abroad is best for you. Staying by my side will only cause trouble.
Are you going to marry Gillian?
Aren't you excited about having an aunt?
These words stab into my heart like a knife. My 4 years of feelings mean nothing. No wonder he wants me abroad. He has someone new and needs me gone. Fine, I'll sign it. The pen scratches across the paper like it's tearing apart my entire youth. In 2 months, I'm leaving this country, leaving him for good. 2 in the morning, I lie in bed, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. There's one crazy thought running through my head. Does Nate really have no interest in me at all? Since I'm leaving, why not give it a shot? I had to know whether clinging to my body. He scoops me up from the floor. I see Loge. Before I'd hold my breath around him, but tonight I'm taking a courageous leap. I null against his collarbone and exhale against his Adam's apple. Uncle, I think I've hurt my foot. I tilt my head up deliberately, brushing my nose against his chin. He looks down at me, and for a second our noses almost touch. I gaze up at him, tears in my eyes, pretending not to know.
What are you trying to do, dressed like this?
His voice pours over me like ice water. He puts me on the bed with swift urgency, like handling a hot potato.
Haven't I instructed you against wearing camisoles? Your dress ought to reach your knees. You're not attempting to seduce me, are you?
Every word out of his mouth is a slap in the face. All my courage, every seducting hint I so carefully planned, in his eyes, it's all just a farce. At noon the next day, Ricky asked us back to the Holland family mansion for lunch. I choose my outfit carefully, hoping for a proper goodbye. The living room feels like a frozen museum. Ricky sits in the main seat, Christy beside him, a fake smile plastered on her face. Grandpa. Why didn't you greet me? Are you always this arrogant?
Why would she ignore you? Don't you understand?
Nate leans lazily on the sofa, playing with an apple in his hand.
I hear you're seeing someone from Showbiz now. Planning to marry an actress? None of those well-bred young ladies catch your eye? Those high society girls don't interest me. I won't marry someone who doesn't spark my interest.
Why are you being so defiant?
She's right here. Say hello to your soon-to-be daughter-in-law.
My heart skips a beat. I hear the sound of high heels coming from the hallway. Jillian walks in wearing an evening gown, radiant like a graceful swan, and me in my school uniform, sitting in the corner like a little girl who wandered into the adult world by mistake. What does he want from me? For me to give up on him completely?
I've already stated that I divide the shares equally. When you two brothers get engaged, you'll each get your portion. But if you're set on marrying that actress, forget about getting any shares. I don't need the shares.
For Jillian, he gives up shares worth billions. I lower my head and pretend to pick something up, secretly wiping my tears on my sleeve. In this family, I've never mattered at all. If Nate wishes me gone, I'll comply. I will remain the obedient, sensible girl in his memory. On my last night in the country, I returned to the villa, hoping for one final meal with Nate.
Miss Powell, the food is getting cold. You might want to start eating.
I'll wait a little longer. He said he'd be back.
Mr. Holland called 30 minutes ago, said something urgent came up.
I scroll through my phone. The trending page is pasted with photos of him and Jillian dining together. Spending 4 years together couldn't hold a candle to a night with his beloved. I have the driver take me to Dragon Club. I recognize the place from those photos. The door is ajar, and the conversation freezes me in place.
Nate, congratulations. You'll inherit all your grandpa's shares, plus half of your dad's after the engagement. Love and career both flourishing. I heard your so-called niece is off to study abroad. Must be a relief to finally be free of that burden. Some people thought Nate was grooming her to be his bride. Compared to Jillian, she doesn't even come close. Everyone in our circle knows it. Nate only took her in back then to defy Ricky and Christy.
It turns out the whole circle has been laughing at me. A chill runs through me. This is the truth. Nate doesn't keep me out of pity. It is a move against Ricky and Christy. From start to finish, I am nothing more than a pawn. Now I've fulfilled my role. I can be tossed away and sent overseas. Nate's heart is always cold. I once believed I was special to him, but I'm no different from anyone else. Even our family bond was just my imagination. I can't recall how I leave the club. I only remember the tears streaming down my face, all the way home. Inside the private room, Nate smashes a bottle towards the people who were joking earlier.
Don't fucking talk nonsense.
Then he storms out of the club. He doesn't see me. I have already gone. 2 years later, I finish my studies and return to the country. At Ellismore General Hospital, I sit in the Andrea Department's output office in my white coat. I'm a doctor now. The hospital recruited a highly competent foreign doctor. Everyone was excited about the new attending physician. No one expected her to be a young, stunning woman. A patient walks in and sees me. His eyes are full of confusion.
Are you the doctor?
What's troubling you? Erectile dysfunction?
Is this a prank? Why is a young woman dealing with such sensitive issues?
The door suddenly bursts open. Two men in black suits and sunglasses walk in.
Miss Powell, Mr. Holland has sent us to escort you home.
If Mr. Holland has a concern, he can address it at the hospital. If he really has a problem with his private part, just let him come to the Androchy department. The bodyguards are taken aback, clearly not expecting such a retort.
Mr. Hamland insists you shouldn't be working here.
Why can't she work here? She's an excellent doctor. It would be a loss for her not to practice.
Step aside. Don't hold up the patient's treatment. I'm not coming back with you. Unless you plan to restrain me and drag me back. The bodyguards exchange worried looks. I put on gloves, ready to examine the patient. Suddenly, a firm hand grabs my wrist and yanks me aside. My nose hits a solid chest. Pain surges through me. I look up into Nate's severe gaze. After 2 years apart, Nate's stare is even more menacing. What do you want?
Shouldn't that be my question? Why are you dealing with these disgusting men?
His eyes dart to the patient, filled with loathing. The man hastily dresses and flees. He was the one who didn't want me. I left obediently. He must be married by now. Now that I've returned, all I want is to steer clear of him. Why is he poking his nose into my work? I'm a doctor. This is my duty.
Is examining men your duty?
Who are you to scold me? Nate ignores my explanation. He hoists me onto his shoulder and carries me away. He takes me back to the villa. My first time back in 2 years, and nothing has changed. Even the sofa is in the exact same position as 2 years ago. He sits by the floor-to-ceiling window, legs crossed, like he's interrogating a prisoner.
Are you determined to do this job?
I'm sticking with my career. You find this profession disgraceful? He stands up and walks toward me. He seems even more sophisticated than 2 years ago, and more dangerous. Every step radiates dominance.
You're still wearing that stubborn look, just like old times.
He reaches out to brush the stray hair from my forehead. I step sideways to avoid him. His fingers touch only air.
So now that you've grown up, I'm not allowed to touch you?
I'd prefer you didn't. You are my uncle after all. Such closeness isn't fitting. His gaze instantly darkens. He pinches my chin and forces me to look at him.
Where were you these past 2 years? Why didn't you follow my arrangements? Why did you leave without a word?
Wasn't your plan to send me abroad to get rid of me so you could get married?
I did want you to go abroad. But I raised you for so long, and you just left without a word. Quite bold of you. Did I teach you to act like this?
I admit my mistake. I shouldn't have left like that. So kick me out of the Holland family. Then my actions won't be your concern anymore. I'm not here to rehash past grievances. I want a resolution. I won't let Nate disrupt my professional life.
Are you returning to sell ties with me? To leave from the Holland family?
Do you even care? Or do you believe it's not my place to decide? He releases my chin and steps back. A mocking smile curls at the corner of his lips.
You think I give a damn about that?
I shake my head. I have never truly understood Nate. All the kindness I have perceived over the years, perhaps just my illusion. You brought me up. I owe you that much. I'm very skilled in andriology. Uncle Nate, if you ever need help in that area, don't hesitate to ask. I'll treat you for free. Let this be my way of showing gratitudes.
His face darkens like the sky before a storm.
But I don't regret a single word.
You're so determined to work in the andrology department? But what about the man you'll marry? Will he be as understanding?
I appreciate your concern. But I believe the right man for me would accept my profession. He stares at me for a long time without another word. I turn around and leave, but something feels stuck in my chest. At the bar, I down an entire glass of blue cocktail and push the empty glass toward Maisie. One more drink. Was it to get under Nate's skin that you chose the andrology department? It has nothing to do with him. I genuinely find this field fascinating. Why not consider a different specialty? You must be competent in other medical fields too. Please think about leaving the andrology department.
I fix my gaze on Maisie. My stare almost makes her back down.
Is Nate behind your attempt to sway me? Yes. That bastard threatened to shut down my bar if I didn't convince you. Please, for my sake, will you reconsider? He's just making empty threats. Are you sure? When you vanished 2 years ago, Nate was beside himself. He looked everywhere for you. And he never married Jillian. I don't think he's completely indifferent to you. He hasn't married and has searched for me? My heart flutters, my eyes widen, and I freeze in place. Does he feel the same way I do? Photos of him dining with Jillian are all over the internet. There's talk they might reunite. While I worked hard overseas, trying to stay out of sight, Nate was back home, dealing with rumors about his on and off relationship with his celebrity crush. He enjoys such freedom. So why does he get to control my job? Leon, what are you thinking? I need to get back to work. I can't let him hold my entire life in his hands. But he has so much influence in this city. How can you avoid him? I fall silent. She's right. I need backing that even he wouldn't dare to challenge. Maisie had a sudden idea. The Lamberts are one of Elsman's top families. Heimer Lambert, the eldest grandson, has been married for years and remains childless. He sustained an injury during his military service that affected his fertility. If I can cure him, the Lamberts will be in my debt. Nate won't dare touch me. Top medical facilities couldn't help him? Are you sure you can succeed? I have faith in my medical abilities. Just then, my phone rings. Caller ID, Director.
Liana, was your meeting with Mr. Howland unsuccessful? He's threatened to shut down our entire andology department if he sees you there again.
I stand up, fists clenched. He's targeting an entire hospital because of me.
Why don't you take a short break and discuss this with him? The hospital values your contributions and will hold your position for you.
All right, I decide to go confront Nate immediately and settle this once and for all. I hurry to the villa entrance and spot a luxury car. Jillian gets out of the car. Miss Powell, a pleasure to see you. What are you doing here? I've just been with Nate. He's already in bed. She adjusts her strap, her smile meaningful. Tonight he was quite rough. He's exhausted now. If you want to see him, come back tomorrow. I turn and walk away, fingernails digging into my palms. I won't let her see the redness in my eyes. When I go back to my rented apartment, something worse awaits. My luggage is tossed in the hallway. An eviction notice is taped to the door.
The room's no longer available. Move out immediately. You'll get all your rent money back.
Where am I supposed to go at this time?
Not my problem.
I find a hotel. The front desk says all my cards are frozen. Nate must be behind this. He thinks this will make me surrender.
Miss Powell, please get in. Mr. Holland is waiting for you at home.
I'm not going back. Tell him he's wrong. I'm not backing down that quickly. Since he has a grip on my finances and leave me with no choice, I call the one person he dares not cross. Colton, it's me, Liana. I need your help. Colton comes to pick me up himself, an 80-year-old man, out at night, just because I say I need him. Colton, Nate froze my bank cards, took back my apartment, and messed with my job. He wants to corner me completely.
He went this far? I'll make him come here and give you an explanation at once.
Colton's cane strikes the floor hard. He's the only one in this family who makes me feel warm. Half an hour later, there is a knock at the door. I open it. It's Nate.
You think you're safe because Grandpa is backing you?
Nate, what do you want from me?
You'll find out soon enough.
He smiles, then turns to leave. That smile sends chills down my spine. The next day, while we're eating breakfast, Colton's attitude changes.
Liana, Nate told me everything. At work, you're expected to examine your male patient's intimate areas. That's not quite appropriate for a young lady.
Colton, it's work. Andrology department has female doctors. And urology department is full of female nurses. It's completely normal.
They're working out of necessity. Our family isn't dependent on your income.
I understand now. Nate has persuaded him. I lose Colton's backing. At dinner, Nate is present too. I don't want to talk to him. Colton, have you seen today's trending page? Nate is on the headlines again.
What now?
Him and Jillian. Everyone is guessing when they'll get married. They've been hinting at marriage for 2 years now. What's holding them back?
Nate, what's going on? I told you, that actress is not suitable.
That's old news. The media are stirring things up.
Why would they make up stories about you if you're innocent? I turn away from him. He takes out his phone and calls his assistant right in front of Colton.
Darren, within 30 minutes. I want every story about me removed from the internet.
Within half an hour, every trending topic vanishes. He does this to protect Jillian from Colton's wrath, doesn't he? He truly cares about her. Colton tells me about the Lambert family.
Roller Lambert's eldest son, Hiram, has been married a while, yet no news of a baby. Rumor says he was injured during military service.
This could be my opportunity. Colton, can I attend Rollo's birthday banquet? I'd like to meet more people.
Of course. A lot of accomplished young elites will be there. Perhaps you'll find someone appealing.
On the day of Rollo's birthday celebration, I choose a stunning designer dress. Just as the car arrives at the entrance, another black sedan pulls up.
Grandpa, I'll accompany you.
You're coming too?
What? You don't want me there?
Of course I don't. With him watching, how can I approach the Lamberts? I secretly take out my phone and text Maisie. Get Jillian to Rollo's birthday banquet. Find a way to distract Nate. Got it. If Jillian shows up, Nate won't have time to keep tabs on me. I take a deep breath. Today, I must get close to Hiram. The Lambert estate is even larger than the Hollands. I avoid the crowd and wander around. Around a corner, I see a woman crouched on the ground, hand pressing her abdomen, forehead drenched in cold sweat. Don't come near me. I'm a doctor. Let me take a look. I crouch down and note her pale complexion and cold hands. Your period cramps are because your uterus got hurt before, right? Do not make wild guesses. Just normal cramps. Your body is weak, affecting your periods and likely fertility. You have been on medication a long time. How do you know me? I do not understand the secrecy. If she is unwell, why not just seek treatment? I am a doctor, so I identified your symptoms. Your secret is safe with me. She studies me, notes my honest gaze, and finally relaxes. I take a small bottle from my purse and pour out 2 pills. These are self-made painkillers. They should work for you. Try them. Thank you. A few minutes later, color returns to her face. She looks at me, and the wariness in her eyes has faded. I specialize in fertility. I am confident I can help. Will you trust me? What's your name? Leanna Powell. If you change your mind, here is my card. She takes the card, clutching it in her palm, as if holding on to some kind of hope. I return to the banquet area and rush straight into Janelle and her circle of friends. Look who we have here. Couldn't snag a man in the andrology department, so you're here hunting? Janelle Holland is Christy's daughter. How does she know I work in the andrology department? She has targeted me since I joined the Holland family. I'm not the type who, despite being plain and ordinary, yet dressed in luxury, pretending to be something she's not. Why would I be desperate for male attention? You! Before Janelle can touch me, she pulls back, crying out. A red stain appears on her sleeve. Help! She attacked me! She hurt me! I want her arrested! Why not roll up your sleeve and let us all see if there's any wound? She rolls up her sleeve to show everyone, but there's no wound at all. How could it be? There was blood just now. I grin. I pricked her with a needle. The tiny puncture is barely noticeable. Janelle covers her arm, trembling with rage. Ellen stands not far away, scrutinizing me. She is daughter of Rolle's second son. You hurt Janelle? Security, escort her out. Security moves towards me. A chilling voice comes from behind.
I'd like to see you try.
Janelle instinctively retreats. No one in Elsman dares cross Nate. Mr. Holland, are you familiar with her?
She is my woman.
I glare at him. Now everyone thinks I am his partner. I trail behind Nate and bump into his back as he stops abruptly.
You're hiding your identity and avoiding family gatherings because you don't want to be tied to the Holland family. You are really ungrateful.
I will never forget the Holland family's kindness. I am only respecting your wishes. Nate seizes my wrist, fury blazing in his eyes.
Liana, must you always oppose me?
My wrist aches from his grip. Years of frustration surge up, and I kick him hard.
You sent me away! I acknowledge your help in raising me, and I'll repay that kindness someday, but you cannot control my life.
He releases my wrist. His expression becomes unreadable.
I'm protecting you.
I don't need your protection. I need your respect.
But have you ever wondered why I did that?
I thought about that 2 years ago, because he saw me as a pawn and tossed me away after I fulfilled my role.